What's happening, everybody? Jason right here. We've got another awesome guest for the podcast. We got Aleric Heck. Let me tell you what I know about Aleric. He's a founder and CEO of a company called AdOutreach, which is really interesting to me. They harness the power of YouTube ads. He is also a 2 Comma Club winner with ClickFunnels, which we all know is super awesome as well. Aleric, welcome to the show, man.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on, Jason. I'm excited to be on here.
I'm excited to have you, man. So I'd love to hear your backstory. Where'd you get started with entrepreneurship? And I think people, especially in today's world, are going to be super interested to hear how people like yourself got started.
So I've actually been on YouTube for a long time now, almost 11 years. So I started back in July of 2009, and it was kind of had the star rating, right? Like standard definition videos, very different platform back then, very very early on in YouTube. I was actually quite young at the time too. So what I was doing is I was reviewing mobile apps, technology. The iPhone had just come out, right? So I was reviewing that, and I started to build my own YouTube channel back then. And so it was really cool because people were watching. A lot of people were, subscribing, and the channel actually started to grow pretty rapidly. And so it quickly became the largest app review channel on YouTube, where, reviewing mobile apps. And so essentially, we were getting all kinds of different recognitions, sponsorships, mobile apps would be published. They would have like on a checklist. I saw a checklist at one point back then, and, kind of, let's think 5-6 years ago, kind of the height of mobile apps, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of very much, really big. Everybody wanted to make an app. And so there was like checklists that I saw, where like, sponsor App Find, which is just the YouTube channel that I had, these days is up to, 450,000 subscribers. And so what I was doing is I was building up a YouTube following and presence. I was becoming an influencer kind of before that was even a word.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really discovering the power of video. But the turning point is obviously what I do nowadays is YouTube ads. And I still have the channel, the YouTube channel. I actually have a small team that runs that. It's kind of like a 4-hour work week, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
It still brings in some good revenue. Videos still go out, but I'm less involved. But about 5-6 years ago, right, kind of at the peak of those mobile apps, the channel really big. We were having lots of different sponsorships, right? People would pay a few $1,000s for us to post a video of their app, and then they'd get a lot of downloads. There was a particular social media networking app, and they hired us through a marketing agency. It wasn't really called influencers, more performance marketing back then.
Mm-hmm.
And they had hired us, and we posted the video, and it got a lot of users. They're like, this is great. This is awesome. But they noticed something, right? The user amount had kind of died down a little bit, right? Because you post a video, you get a lot of, downloads or a lot of action. And then, as with any organic content, there's a curve to it.
Mm-hmm.
So like, how can we get more downloads? Can you post the video again, or can you, tweet it more or whatever? And I'm like, well, I don't know how much that's going to work, but I've been experimenting a little bit with YouTube ads. And the time I was doing a little bit with like affiliate marketing, a little bit with my channel to grow it. I'm like, what if we run this video as an ad? And remember, this was like 6 years ago. Like most of the ads were like Geico, Ford, kind of the big names. And they were a little skeptical, but they greenlit, just a $500 budget. We run this video, $500 1 week, gets 11,000 users.
Wow.
Just crazy. Yeah.
We might be onto something here.
Exactly. And so the performance marketing company calls me like, Aleric, what you didn't know is we're getting paid $1 per user we generate for this app. And I'm like, wait a second, what? Like 500 for 11,000. So we kept running that. And then they call me up again. They say, hey, we've got a really big brand. And this other company that we did through them, and we basically ran YouTube ads for all of their influencer partners. So all the people who posted videos on YouTube, ran ads for them. It was a big company, actually became $1 billion company. And we ran ads. It was about, again, 5-6 years ago. That was like the first major campaign I was doing, where it was like thousands of dollars a day. It was kind of crazy.
Wow.
And I was in college at the time too. And so I remember getting another call from them, and they're like, hey, this is working out really great. We want you to drop out of college, fly out here to Silicon Valley, join our team. They're like, you could head up the YouTube ads division. Like, we're all young guys too. And I actually turned it down, right? Obviously it's an enticing offer, but I wanted to be, like many entrepreneurs listening, the king of my own castle instead of the knight in somebody else's castle. And so I was like, you know what, you guys can keep hiring me to help with this, or keep, working with me as like my own business, as like a contractor and eventually as a business. But I want to build this up myself because I saw the power of what this was. And so what I started to do is I started to go down the rabbit hole of ClickFunnels and some of these different things. I got some mentors, right, too, that introduced me to the world of, high ticket and courses. And so initially I was doing YouTube ads for mobile apps and we drove millions of downloads. But then people started asking me how I was getting my clients. And initially I leveraged partnerships, but as I exhausted those, right, I was running YouTube ads to get these app developers to buy my high ticket packages. And what I didn't realize until people started asking me, well, can you do that for me or help me do that, is I had cracked the code to YouTube ads for high ticket sales and sales funnels, right? So how to get actual, B2B or what I call B2E, right? Business to entrepreneur, clients consistently through YouTube advertising. And so that's what I was like, okay, wow, this is crazy. So I did some, management, and then I switched over to what I have, for the past, 3 years is our YouTube ads program. So it's essentially done with you process, hands-on, where we're actually, we have trainings on how everything works, but we're also helping hands-on, helping people, write their script. We've got a copywriter actually helping people set up their campaigns, optimize, scale. So kind of learning while at the same time also helping them hands-on, make sure that the campaigns are successful. And that's what we've been doing nowadays. We've helped our clients generate well over 8 figures in sales using YouTube ads, and the goal is to get that number to 9 figures for our clients. So that's kind of where I am today, and I'm excited to talk a little bit more about YouTube and YouTube ads.
That's awesome, man. I love it. I love the done with you service as well. We do that, and it's so powerful because I was telling somebody about this yesterday, but when you do done with you work and things go well, you build long-term relationships. And I don't think most people see the value in that. They don't get it. They don't understand how valuable it is, because what happens, like, for example, we're recording this in March of 2020. Supposedly the economy's down, right? And if new business stops and you already have a database, a huge relationship, or a huge number of people with relationships, guess what? You're still working. You still have things to do. So it's super powerful, done for you work. There's so many things that can go wrong with that, but the done with you, it's beautiful, man. I just wanted to give you credit there. It's a wonderful thing. I love video, man. Video is great. Even people watching this, they can watch us from the comfort of their home and they can decide, are these guys full of crap? Do I believe them? Do I think these guys could help me? And there's nothing more powerful and social proof than that, So I love it, man. Through your process, through your story, did you ever have a fear of failure? Like, oh man, what if this doesn't work? Did you ever have that moment where something kind of didn't work out or something stopped working, like it can sometimes online? Or curious to know what you say about that.
Yeah, so I never really had a fear of failure, right? Of actually, failing and not, not achieving, because I know that, obviously not everything's going to work out exactly as you want it to work out. I mean, look at the world right now, right? So it's nobody wants where the world's at right now, but and a book I've been reading recently, obviously, due to current events, right, is The Obstacle is the Way, right? By Ryan Holiday, and really talks about how to look at each obstacle as an opportunity and an opportunity for growth. And so essentially how you as a business owner can grow. And so I don't look at it as permanent failure. I look at it as, okay, what are lessons that you can learn and you can apply? The fear that I had, though, and I did have this fear, and especially when I was in college and I was doing my YouTube channel, right? So the YouTube channel is doing pretty well and it still does well, right? So it's like, maybe $120,000 a year or something like that, right?
Nice.
But I didn't want to be just doing YouTube forever, and also, yes, that's a good amount of money if you like the general population, but that's not what I knew my potential was. And so the fear that I had was, that I was going to kind of get stuck in doing something like that. So I needed to make sure that I could find what that next thing was. So I read the 4-Hour Workweek. I systematized that business. I literally made my YouTube channel, which still runs today, still produces really strong revenue today, right? In kind of that area, but it's just harder to scale, right?
Yep.
You know, I was able to systematize that business so that I could then focus on the other side of it, which at the time I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do app marketing. Obviously apps were really hot, but then I was looking for each new opportunity. I just, you know, I came across, and you know, I hate the word stumbled upon because you know, it is technically true that but I was looking for that opportunity, and I seized it. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to pivot away from apps, even though apps is what I've known for a long time. It's not the apps that I know, it's YouTube and ads and marketing. And I can apply that for, you know, let's say, you know, a $10,000 or multi-$1,000 product as opposed to just a $1 app, you know, and I can help other business owners with their own, you know, whether it be high ticket or courses. And we also have people who are e-commerce as well, and, you know, looking for leads and things like that. You do really well on YouTube. And so we help a wide breadth, but, you know, I started out kind of in that high ticket area. It was just so exciting. Like, you can run YouTube ads to generate some of these high ticket deals, you know, or consistent course sales on autopilot, you know, 4 or 5x ROAS, put $1 in, get 4 to 5x out. Like, we have a client, David Emmons, he literally, you know, went on a 3 to 4 week trip, like I think 3.5 week trip to hike the Grand Canyon while his ads were running. And I remember him telling me, he's like, oh, I'm going to check it once a week. Now I was a little nervous. I was like, you know, things are going really well, but you should probably check a couple times, because I check more often than that, obviously. But
Yeah.
But hey, he did that. You know, he literally hiked the Grand Canyon, still getting, you know, 3 to 4x ROAS on his automated course, you know, spending thousands of dollars a day on ads, right? It's you know, it's insane. And so it's really exciting, not just to be able to do that myself, you know, with my business, but actually helping other business owners get to this point. And so it was kind of a tangent from your original question, but
that's all right. That's the way I roll too, my friend. Yeah. You know what's funny is you always hear people say this about everything, or people say, oh, YouTube's too competitive, or you hear people just throw negative stuff. But what's funny is I've recently just put an emphasis on growing my YouTube channel. It's really small now, but I enjoy it. I enjoy the video and I repurpose it. But I spend a lot of my time on YouTube because I can very specifically watch or learn what I want to learn. It's not going anywhere. It's never going to stop being what it is. I mean, it's a phenomenal platform. The idea of YouTube ads is very intriguing to me. I love the idea of using that to sell courses and drive traffic and all that. And me and my son, who's going to be 14 soon, we're messing around. It's probably been almost a year ago. I made just one really stupid YouTube ad, and we threw it out there. We had like a credit, I think, with YouTube. We just threw it out there to see what happened. And I don't even know that we had a real call to action. We just want to see how many people would engage with it. And it was like 500 or 600 people in a really short amount of time. And I was intrigued because I was like, can't believe that many people watch this stupid thing. It's interesting though. But think about reality TV. Think about live video. Humans are curious. Video makes them curious, and video is also very powerful emotionally and stuff. So there's a lot of neat things about it. Where do most people go wrong when they try to do YouTube ads? Say they've always been spoon-fed on Facebook ads. Like, you know what? Let's try this YouTube ads thing. Where do you think the average entrepreneur goes wrong wading into that area?
Yeah, so there's 2 main areas that people go wrong, and then also I'll talk about kind of the correct way and what we found works really well. So first is the video, and then the second is the targeting. And so we'll talk about the video first. So where a lot of people go wrong is they see these ads that are these big production studio ads, you know, and they're like Geico or they're whatever it is, you know, and they're like 30 seconds long or they're a minute long. And so they're like, oh, I'm just going to make a 30-second or minute long ad. But those ads are not what you're looking for as a, you know, entrepreneur, small business, even medium-sized business, right? What you're looking for is an ad that actually has a call to action, direct response. So we have a certain type of direct response YouTube ads. All those 30 and 60-second ads are almost all branding plays, right? Just to get you to remember, you know, Geico, or just to get you to remember, you know, this particular car or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Versus what we're looking for is direct action now, getting people into a funnel or your website, getting leads, getting sales, right? And so it's a direct response play. And so direct response ads, and the big mistake people make is they do a 30, 60-second ad thinking that's going to work. They just do like a little hook, and then they say, okay, go sign up for my webinar. You need to match YouTube where the platform is. We've developed a formula for a YouTube ad that's a winning formula. And it's actually between a 3 to 5 minute long ad that actually provides value. So it has a hook, right? And we'll talk about each of these components in a second. It has a hook, then has an educate. And this is where you're actually providing value. We call them golden nuggets. You're getting people actual value. Because think about it, you go on YouTube, right, to learn. So if you can teach in your ad, it feels more like the platform that people are on. They're going to trust you. They're going to value you. And be like, wow, okay, wait, you have a webinar, and then you get to the call to action. It's the third part. So hook, educate, call to action. Because of what they learned in your educate portion, then they're going to have to, they're like, okay, wow, now I'm intrigued. You talked about being intrigued, right? You're going to click off, you're going to sign up for the webinar, you're going to go inside, and that's where you're going to get the extra value on the webinar, or the VSL, or the training, or even just a video, or even just going to your webpage. It could be a sales letter, whatever it is. That's what's going to get people then to purchase. And so if you start educating from the ad, it's incredibly powerful, because YouTube's all about intent, right? If people are looking up, how to get more leads, how to get more sales, how to grow my business, or maybe they're looking up how to lose weight or how to get fit. They're looking these things up. And if you just say, like, do you want to get fit? Sign up for my webinar. People aren't going to do it. But if you say, did you know that, the key to losing weight is, 80% nutrition. You need to make sure that you eat these groups of foods. And then you talk about some of the groups or whatever. And you say, on our webinar, we're going to show you exactly what foods fall into each of these groups. You go off, right? Very nice. You have this thing that's an aha moment for certain people, right? Because maybe they're watching the video on all the different workouts. They don't really realize that you need to also control what you eat too. And so then you're explaining this, but you're only giving them a taste, and you're putting the rest of it behind a wall. Same thing, right? With our own ads, we talk about how would you like to ethically hijack your competitors' traffic on YouTube and send it directly into your own funnel. And people are like, wait, what did you, it has a mechanism. And then we teach a little bit about how YouTube ads work, but not that much. We say, hey, if you really want to go behind the curtain, click the link, and you're going to be able to go into our webinar. It's an hour-long webinar where we dive under the hood of some of our best campaigns and what's working, and explain exactly how YouTube ads work for your business to get leads and sales. So that type of content, and we even show the setup of a little bit of a YouTube ad on our ad, right? Actually giving them a taste of what they'll get and provide some value. It meets people where they are. It gives them enough, like, yes, this is real. And then they want to pay attention, right? It's that realness, authentic factor. And it cuts through the noise, because you're just saying, like, listen, I'm going to give you some free information on this video. I'm going to promise you even more on the webinar. And then obviously from that, then whether it be a call or a course or whatever it is, obviously you're selling at the end of the day, the full, treasure trove, right? The whole pot of gold. Leaving those golden breadcrumbs to get there, essentially.
Excellent, man. For anybody watching or listening, this guy knows what he's talking about. A lot of people say they do. This guy really does. So very, very good, man. Facebook ads versus YouTube ads. Do you still see value in Facebook ads, or are you all 100% on YouTube?
So that's actually a great question. I'll talk about myself and clients a little bit different, and then I'll talk about the differences between Facebook and YouTube, because I think that's really important to fully understand what the differences are. And so essentially, for ourselves, all of our cold traffic comes from YouTube ads, just because of who we are. Also, YouTube ads provide, in the marketplace, we'll talk about the reasons YouTube versus Facebook. I mean, the leads are higher quality, they're cheaper, they're producing more applications, more sales, and it's also, goes across clients as well. But we do some retargeting, obviously, on we do a lot on YouTube. We do retargeting on Facebook, LinkedIn, Google Display, Google Search. You kind of want to put retargeting ads everywhere. Now, for clients, though, if they have solid Facebook ads running, I don't tell them to turn those off, even when, and again, the vast majority of people get much better results on YouTube, even when they get those better results on YouTube, because part of my thing too is listen, a lot of people do come to us because they get shut down on Facebook, or Facebook costs are rising. But some people, maybe that's not the case. Maybe they manage it really well. Maybe they have Facebook ads that are working really well, but you want to diversify and you want to have YouTube. And I would be a hypocrite if I didn't say that, if I said that you just want to go just to YouTube and only YouTube, but you don't want to put all your eggs in any basket, right? And so, and essentially, like even for me, like, right, I'm running retargeting on a lot of different platforms, and I theoretically could run cold if I needed to somewhere else, right? Because I'm now, on those platforms with, pixels and everything. But what I'm doing is, for our clients, Ahmad's a great example, right? So he came to us because he got shut down on Facebook, doing about 50, 60K a month.
He's on LinkedIn everywhere, isn't he?
Yes. Yeah. He's the guy who teaches LinkedIn. Exactly. He teaches LinkedIn, things like that, right? For consultants. So he's one of our clients. And so he was at 50 to 60K a month. And essentially he came to us because Facebook actually shut him down over the summer, right? He came to us over the summer. Facebook shut him down completely. At the time he's like, all right, I just need something to make sure that leads come in when Facebook's down. Right. And so, obviously, we're like, all right, we're going to get you up on YouTube, and we get him up and running on YouTube. And he starts to see, wow, the results are actually better on YouTube than on Facebook. And I remember him telling me he was skeptical at first, right? He just, he thought he was going to pay a little bit more. I don't know exactly, because we don't talk about that, right? But, you actually pay less in general. But, he just wanted leads to come through. And he's like, wow, Aleric, this is working really well. So then we started switching over. So, the spend because Facebook, got back on about 2 weeks, right? You can get it back. It takes some time to ramp up. It's awful, right? People get suspended, but usually you can get it back. But essentially we started ramping up more and more spend over to YouTube. He has a great YouTube ad. I don't know if you've seen it. It's like the one where he's in a trench coat and he's like, consulting, anybody want consult, and it's like, it's so funny. It's but it's a really good ad. And so we start scaling that up more and more on YouTube. And in November, I remember we had the conversation at the beginning of the month to scale them up to 75% YouTube versus Facebook. And again, we wouldn't get rid of that 25% because you can extract low-hanging fruit from, basically any platform. There's low-hanging fruit, right?
Yep.
So 75% YouTube. And that was his first 6-figure month.
I didn't know he was doing it like that. That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very nice.
So. And that's what we did. And we have a testimonial with him. And again, I'm not saying this brag. I'm actually really excited that he's gotten this point. But he said, like, Facebook, he could not get there on the back of Facebook. He got there on the back of YouTube ads and building that up. So that's essentially, just an illustration, right? I wouldn't tell him to get rid of that 25% Facebook, because you can still extract some low hanging fruit there. But when people see the light and they start seeing the YouTube ads, they start, ratcheting that over on YouTube because they see the results that you can get.
Question for you. My mind's thinking here. Do you spend any money on non-video ads anymore? Or did you ever? Do you ever use single image ads? Do you ever use things like that? I'm just curious.
So just retargeting. So YouTube is all of our cold traffic comes in through YouTube. Okay. And there was a time when I was only running YouTube ads, cold traffic YouTube ads, hot retargeting YouTube ads. But I realized that it's important to be in front of people everywhere and reach people in different mediums. And so essentially I started retargeting. And actually this was honestly, it was really only like in the end of last year in January that I started going more aggressive on retargeting other platforms.
Yep.
And that has been helpful because I'm now everywhere. People are like, I see you everywhere. And so we do videos on Facebook. We also do some images in terms of retargeting. We also do, I don't think we do any images on LinkedIn. It's all videos on LinkedIn retargeting. Yep. And we do Google display, image ads. And we do some search ads as well, retargeting. So direct match search. So if they look up like my name or AdOutreach, it'll pop up. And I think that's just to create an environment, right? So people they can't miss you. Yeah. And leaning into it. So I very much lean into it on our Facebook retargeting. I'm like, bet you didn't expect to see me here. And like a little laughing.
Those are so funny.
Exactly. I want to lean into it because that was part of my fear initially is like, I'm like, well, if I retarget over here, people would be like, what's going on? But the thing is, I think people understand that our results come from YouTube, but it'd be kind of dumb not to tap into the retargeting low-hanging fruit. Like you should retarget everywhere. Honestly, I'll probably start looking for, I'm not on retargeting on Twitter yet, but maybe I'll look into that too. Like, cause it does make sense to retarget on as many platforms as you can. It's just so much low-hanging fruit.
Absolutely. ClickFunnels is scary about how they retarget. Yeah. When I looked in my cup of coffee this morning, I swear I saw ClickFunnels ad in the reflection. I'm like, geez, Russell, you're everywhere. So no, I definitely agree with you there. Very, very fascinating podcast. My mind's spinning and running, which is always a good thing. So 3 tips. I would love to get 3 tips from you for anybody like myself who's like, hey, I'm going to get started with YouTube ads. You've given us some great stuff already. What would 3 simple tips be for the average entrepreneur here?
Absolutely. So what I would say is when it comes to the video, follow that hook, educate, call to action framework. Make sure that it has the educate and keep it authentic and natural. It's very important because on YouTube and anywhere, people tune out overly produced ads. So it's crazy. People think they need to do an overly produced ad, but what you really want is you want a natural, authentic ad that actually gets people to see you, your persona as the expert. They get excited about you. So that's one. Number 2 is when it comes to your targeting, right? And this is on YouTube. We have a concept called 3D YouTube ads targeting. We didn't get the chance to really dive into it as much. It's actually, we have some of those trainings in some of the resources that I'll share, and a little podcast gift, which I'll talk about in a second. But 3D targeting. So instead of just targeting videos or just placements, that's one of the big mistakes people make, or they buy, a course that's been made like years and years ago, right? Or whatever. It just talks about placements. That's just the tip of the iceberg, right? We take a 3D targeting approach where we target demographics, videos, and there's something called affinities where you can target people based on websites they've been on in the past, Google searches they've made before. Google even has a variety of different buckets, kind of like Facebook does, of interests that you can layer with the video that they're watching, with who they are. That's really creating that triangle. And the third thing that I would say is honestly just in general, right, is to at least get on YouTube retargeting ads. Because here's the thing, with YouTube, you only pay if somebody watches 30 seconds of your video, right? It's crazy. One of the best deals in advertising. It's like that for cold traffic, but it's like that for your retargeting ads too. Imagine you get retargeting videos up and running on YouTube and people see you every time they open up YouTube. If they skip the ad, you don't pay for it. It's branding that pops up in front of your face again and again and again. And so that's the third tip. So hopefully that's been valuable. And if you want, I can kind of get into some of the resources that I have for your listeners.
Yeah. Curious, before we talk about that, just the beginning of this year, what's next for you? What are you looking forward to for the rest of 2020?
Absolutely. So the goal that I have is scaling up, and things are actually going still really well right now. I know there are a lot of businesses, but mostly local businesses that are struggling. But online, what I've been seeing is very resilient. Some people are even having bumps right now because everybody's going online. We're having a bit of that too. A lot of people see the opportunity right now to start on YouTube and start building things up. Ad costs are a lot lower than what they were before. It's crazy. It's a good opportunity if you have an online business to take the jump. And so we still have really big growth goals. We have certain numbers that we want to hit this year, and that's what we're looking to do. And the goal this year, and by the end of next year, we want to turn our own company into an 8-figure a year company. And so that'll be the goal by the end of next year. But we're looking to get halfway there this year. So you can probably do the math in your head. That's kind of our goals that we have. We're on track, so it's super exciting. That's
I think you're going to get there, my friend. I have complete faith in you.
Oh, thank you so much. I really do appreciate that, Jason.
No problem at all. So if anybody watching or listening wants to learn more about you or wants your offer for us, how can they find out about you?
Absolutely. So the best place to go, and I put this page together for the podcast I go on, instead of just giving one gift, I wanted to give multiple. So it's AdOutreach, AdOutreach, AdOutreach.com/gift. So it's AdOutreach.com/gift. I'm sure it'll be in the notes here. And you'll just see a little video of me, just kind of thanking you for listening to the podcast. And underneath that, what you'll see is a link to our webinar, YouTube ads for leads and sales. We also have a 22-minute no fluff training on YouTube ads for high ticket businesses, where we actually go under the hood and high ticket exactly how it works with YouTube ads. And we also have a link to our Facebook group, YouTube ads for entrepreneurs. You can also look that up on Facebook, YouTube ads for entrepreneurs, where we're dropping all kinds of training, knowledge, value. And finally, there's of course the ability to book. You can also go directly to adoutreach.com/apply to schedule a time to speak with our team about YouTube ads for your own business.
Perfect, man. A lot of fun today, a lot of value here. Timing wise for me, this is great. Great conversation. Very interested in everything you had to say. Appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. Likewise, Jason. This is a lot of fun.